Hey everyone, Bassman Strikes here. So at ICAST this year, there's all this talk of the EPDL drive from Old Town. Well, guess what? You don't need that. You can add a motor to any old pedal drive. You just have to get the right mount. And you don't have to buy an expensive motor either to get good performance. So I'm going to go over what I did here on my Slayer Max 12.5. So we'll start back here. I went with a Haswing 65-pound thrust brushless motor, as you can see here. And this thing is phenomenal for the price. It's $299. And what I did is I cut the shaft down to 26 inches. I used a PVC threaded fitting, so it's a street fitting or a socket fitting, whatever you want to call it, on this end, and threaded here. It's I believe it's 20 millimeter fits in here. And then we have a corrugated tubing gland. So this allows the use of non-split. So this stuff is not split. This makes the best cable cover, which we'll get to in a second. And anyway, this locks the corrugated tubing in and makes it look super professional, as you can see. And then I took a standard Minn Kota mount and I cut it flush. And I used a piece of aluminum and I cut out handle sections here. Alright, so I still have full use of my handles for lifting. On a prior iteration of this on my old Slayer Max from 2020, this is a newer one I bought because it had some nice updates, so I sold the 2020 and got this one. But anyways, I used a piece of starboard here, and the starboard had a lot of flex. So I went with 1/4 inch aluminum, and this worked out a lot better. So the aluminum is mounted only to inserts and the gear track. So there's a mount here. There's a mount here, 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 and here. Now ideally, I would have liked to get a bigger piece of aluminum, but this is just what I had. And I would have had it come out to here and to here to make it more symmetrical, and then I could have had the power pole mount on both sides. And the reason I did the power pole mount off to the side is if you put it this way, it blocks your handle. So when you get off the water, you don't want to be messing around, changing the power pole so you can lift this thing. You just want to lift it and put it on the cart and go, right? And so the best way is to have your power pole go off the side. It works just as good as it coming back here. There's no difference. And you can even have two going off to the side if you make the mount, like I said, bigger. But for my purposes for right now, this works out great. And to lift the motor, you don't need a pulley. You just need a carabiner, a smaller one, and that acts as a pulley because this is Dyneema cord. It's very slippery. And then you just attach it there and you lift it from up there, and there's another carabiner up there that I use to lock it down. So this all works out great. This thing pushes the kayak close to 5 miles an hour, which is similar to the lower end Torqeedos and the NK180. And the greatest thing is you do not have to buy an expensive battery. So right here I have a 50 amp hour LifePo 4 battery, so a lithium iron oxide. And this is just a cheap old plastic ammo can from Harbor Freight, the Bunker Hill 50 cal, and a 50 amp hour fits in here perfectly. If you look around online, they have these new 100 amp hour minis, and they're only a little bit bigger than this 50 amp hour, and you can get them to fit in a slightly bigger ammo can. And so then what I did, I used one of these are from Amazon. I think they're called Nikon trolling motor mounts, and these things work awesome. And out of the box they don't work with this corrugated tubing, but what I did is I took a step bit and I just opened up this nut on the gland here so the tubing would fit, and then it compresses it down and it holds it perfect, and it looks super professional, and it's solid. And then I used a corrugated tubing coupler and I cut it in half and I slid that up as a strain relief, and then I ran the control wires from the Haswing, right, from up here down to here, and I used a 4-pin aviation waterproof connector. Okay, and the Haswing works super simple. It has 4 wires that go to a potentiometer, so you can use any potentiometer based controller. Okay, and then there's a 4th wire for a beeper that shares the power, aka the red wire, with the potentiometer. And so that just goes up here, and I just connect it right here, so you can see it. That connects there. We'll hook it up in a second, but it goes up here. I didn't run anything inside the kayak this time. On my old one I ran everything inside the hull, but it's not really needed. And this setup actually works a lot better. And I can actually transfer this over to my other kayak, because I have the same mount over on my Falcon 11, and that works out great too. So I can just take this battery, plop it in the back of the Falcon, plug it in, and go. Same thing with the mount, because I've got the Yak Attack Mighty mounts on the other kayak as well. And so this is a car route motor throttle. You can find these on the internet. I got this one for like $58. There's someone was selling them on eBay. I don't know, they had a surplus of them or what, but they're all sold out on eBay now, and they're over 100. They're like $119 now, but they work phenomenal for this. And you just have to do some basic rewiring, right? So all you have to do is basically add the beeper into this, and you've got a slick throttle, and it has a center detent. You do have to modify that a bit, because the Haswing has a 60-40 ESC setting, so the center is actually at 40%. So you have 40% reverse, and you have 60% forward. So this all works out great, and it gives it a super nice look, just like a Torpedo or whatever, for like fraction of the cost. So if we go back here, let's hook this up. I'm gonna try and do this. Okay, so this just goes on. So this is for the motor control, right? This is all waterproof. Okay, and this connector is awesome. So all you do is you push it and it snaps right in. So boom, that's it. Then to take it off, boom. So this thing works really slick. And one thing that I did that's unique, that you don't see a lot, I tried Googling for this, and as far as I know, I'm the only one that has this in a DIY type situation. And so what this is a connector, 3-pin. I only use 2 of them. That goes up to the Slayer Max electronics panel on the right hand side. And this is the 2-pin. 2 pins are used for a magnetic kill switch. So inside the box there's a relay, and this connects up into the positive side. I used a positive trigger on this. You can also use a ground trigger. So anyway, that just plugs in here. Alright, so now you're good to go. This motor is, you're good. That's it. It's super easy. Okay, and then before I forget, this is a dedicated charge port. This uses an XT90, so I can just plug this into my charger and boom. I don't have to monkey around opening it up. And you don't have to open it up. Battery sealed. It's not going to explode. It's lithium iron oxide. So you might see some people complaining on YouTube, you got to crack it open. No, you don't. Maybe on a standard lithium that used in RC, you probably should, but it's not going to make any difference in a case like this. So anyway, back to the kill switch. I used a magnetic kill switch from a motorcycle, right? So here it is right here. This thing works phenomenal. So when you put it on here, the Haswing will beep, letting you know that it has power and that the throttle's centered. Okay, so there you go. That means it's centered and ready to go. So now we can go in forward. So I'm going to make it go forward, and I'll go back and show you the motor. Alright, so you can see it spinning. You can probably hear it too, because it's a little loud when it's not in the water. So I'm going to pull the kill switch. Alright, let's see if we can get a good shot of that. There you go, shut off. So the great thing about these magnetic ones is they're super easy to pull. Like if you flip this thing over, you're not going to have to go far from the kayak for it to pull off, right? It's just strong enough. I can unclip it here, and I can click it to my PFD up here, and you see it's not coming off. But if I fall out, it's going to come off, because it doesn't take much force to pull it out. So this works phenomenal. So there you can go. You can see I put it back on. If it's centered, it beeps because you're actually turning off the power, the complete power. So now you could, if it would fit in here, I don't think it'll fit because it's kind of big, but if they made these with a bigger case, you could mount it in here and then use a 6-pin wire and a 6 or 7-pin connector and run the circuit for the kill switch right up to here. I just did it this way because it's pretty convenient on the Slayer Max electronic panels on both sides, as you can see. So that's pretty much it, folks. That's the ultimate DIY motor setup for a Slayer Max 12.5. This will also work on a Slayer Max 10. Let me know what you think in the comments. Oh, and I did put this Grass Ninja on here because I went to a lake just recently and it was just choked with weeds. So I don't know, maybe this will help. But I did have to clear the weeds every 100 yards or so. It was pretty bad. But anyway, that's it. Custom mount. Custom battery setup. Custom throttle. Custom magnetic kill switch. Bassman out.
Thanks for watching Bassman Strikes Kayak Fishing. If you like this video, please click the subscribe and like buttons. If you would like to be notified of new content, click the bell button. If you have any questions about lures, equipment, etc., please leave a comment. Also, be sure to check out our Facebook page and join our group Black Bass Central. Links will be in the description. We'll see you next time.